Creatures of the night, bear with me. 4 hours of Dynamite and Collision on a Wednesday. A sister is tired. It was rough. And I do feel like maybe if there was a different order in terms of like things that happened, maybe it would have felt like it flowed a little bit better, but I'll get to that in a minute. We start off with William Ospreay in the ring, basically pleading once again for Swerve to get together with himself and Hangman so that they can make sure that no matter what happens at All In, that everybody bands together to make sure that Jon Moxley does not retain at All In. Does it make sense? Yeah, but you can't force the guy to do it, especially after Hangman burned down his motherfucking childhood home. Now, while he's over here talking about them getting together, then he goes basically saying, well, if you're not going to band with us as a team to defend the company from the Death Riders, basically letting everybody know that he is literally willing to die for the company. There's a couple of y'all soldiers over there. And then he goes to challenge Swerve for next week. Next week, we're having another 4-hour AEW blockbuster, I believe it's called, where we're getting a Dynamite and Collision again. Why, I don't know. And he called him out for that. Now, instead of Swerve coming out to, I guess, make this official, we end up having crew that came on out there. Action Andretti and Lio Rush are literally just coming from Japan. They've been over there these past few days. And long story short, we're going to get Lio Rush to go against William a little bit later on. I'm not sure where this is coming from, but I'm okay with crew getting some TV time. Now we have our champion, Jon Moxley, who is just like, you know what, fuck it. I will open the show in terms of the first match of the night. He goes against Mark Briscoe. No title on the line. This was Mark Briscoe's way of showing his kids that he's not a loser by obviously coming out to lose to Jon Moxley. But they have a really great matchup. I would have loved to see there being like some type of street fight or some type of hardcore element between the two of them. People are not giving Jon Moxley enough credit, but this man is in the best shape of his life. He looks amazing. He performs amazing. And no matter what has happened within AEW, the company has always been able to rely on this man. Like, you're not giving him enough motherfucking credit. But with that being said, as someone who absolutely always sided with the heels, well, most of the time, Jon Moxley, I'm trying to remember if there's ever been one match that he's had where there has not been interference whatsoever. And honestly, I cannot think of any. And I was just like, why not just have this moment with Mark Briscoe? I know you don't care about Mark Briscoe kids, but at least have a moment where we could just be like, well, at least Jon Moxley was able to do it by himself one time. Obviously, Marina, Wheeler Yuta are ringside. Claudio's busy for his match later on in the night, and they're getting involved. And at no point in this whole thing did I ever think that Mark Briscoe had even the slightest chance of winning. Jon Moxley ends up taking the win with a bulldog choke, which is okay with me. However, while I do appreciate the Death Riders' presence within AEW, I wish they would do things a little bit differently before All In. Kind of tired of all these interferences. A little bit too much for me. Now after this, we do have CEO who comes on out. She has a chair waiting for her next to commentary. And then we have a special table that comes on out. And apparently it's a $2 steak in a glass of wine. She's supposed to be having her dinner while she watches the women in tag team action, Toni Storm versus Mina Shirakawa, to go against Sky Blue and Julia Hart. What can I say other than it went exactly how you expected? Now, Julia Hart, Sky Blue, they're getting a TV time, and I feel like a lot of times people are just like, well, they should be happy to be able to get that. And I'm just like, to lose always? Like, I don't understand this thing about these people, especially just getting here and they're losing. Toni Storm is champion, I understand. Mina Shirakawa literally just got signed like 2 weeks ago or something like that. and she's taking the win. She's been taking W since before she even signed. And this is another thing that we're doing again. And then we see what Mariah May on fucking NXT. Like, we gotta stop doing that and take a little bit better care of our homegrown girls on this roster. So yes, Toni Storm and Mina ends up winning, and Toni ends up eating fucking Mercedes steak after this whole thing. Mercedes was really just not really watching. She's like taking pictures on her phone, posting videos, and giving everybody the stank eye and everything, and not really truly getting into the match. When really she should be paying attention to what Toni Storm is doing, because the more and more she has eyes on her, the better it is in terms of her defeating her at All In. Now, after this, we do have Hangman backstage doing an interview that probably no one cares about. But MJF comes and interrupt, and he said, look, why are you getting yourself into this mess with Death Fighters and Hangman and Swerve? Like, you should literally be on the sidelines and just be watching and let these people kill each other, so that when it's time for you, and if it's time for you to get your hands on the AEW championship, then you could just scoop on in and do that. Now, William, he's pretty much playing God in the situation and really want to be in control of things and make sure that AEW is just this happy place all over again. And when he comes up into MJF's face after he does mention his stepson, which is, they always say don't bring up the kids, he gets into his face, and here comes the Hurt Syndicate, all surrounding William. And to be honest with you, that made me feel good, because I was just like, y'all should just stomp him the fuck out. Like, I'm okay with that if y'all did that. Now, they pretty much put him in his place and they end up leaving, but Bobby still stands there for a little bit longer as he stared down William and even fixed his little tied-ass wrinkled shirt before end up walking away. And I'm just like, yes, I actually like how this look. I don't know where we're going in terms of a matchup, but MJF has a point. I understand you want to be the savior of AEW or whatever you're trying to do, but like, if you're really ambitious about getting your hands on the AEW title, let everybody kill themselves and you scoop on in when it's time. Now, after this, Hurt Syndicate came on out there. Shelton looks amazing. MJF looks amazing. MVP looks amazing. And then there's Bobby once again looking like a fucking leather couch. Like, I was just like, if this guy breathed the wrong way, that whole suit gonna pop right on off him. Long story short, MJF and them, they're all in the ring. And literally, once again, it feels like the Hurt Syndicate is just saying, well, we've already beat people. There's no really great tag teams here. There's really nothing for us to do but just hold these titles and look pretty. I understand as heels, they can say that and might not mean anything, but the company themselves probably shouldn't be going this route, because honestly, it feels like you're not prioritizing any of the damn teams on this roster. And for me, I don't think that's a good thing, because tag team wrestling across wrestling itself is not looking good, and y'all can be doing a hell of a lot more with the Hurt Syndicate. Now, obviously, they had their tag titles, and MJF is just like, he is hoping and knowing that he's going to get his hands on the Triple B again. And honestly, I would love to see him champion again. I don't know about the rest of y'all, but me, yes, I would. But since we're not going that route, because obviously there's a lot of other things going on in terms of the AEW Championship, here comes MJF talking about how he lives in the great old land of the USA. That's pretty much the same shit like FTR was saying the other day. All that to challenge Mystico for a match at Grand Slam. And I was just like, oh, so that's where we're going. I don't care. I really don't care. Can I just say, like, I don't mind MJF being part of this group. I just feel like it's taking so much away from the tag division, where it's a little bit too much of a focus. We've seen situations where, I don't know why they have not been able to do this at all, but Blackpool Combat Club is a great example of a faction where it's like, when it's time for us to get together, we getting together. When we doing our own shit, we doing our own shit, and I'm gonna cheer you on from the sidelines. That's what they were doing, and that's what it should be in a situation like with Hurt Syndicate, because I feel like it's becoming too much of a distraction. But after this, Commander, Kevin Knight's people, who has their match next, they come on out there. Commander, of all people, has a microphone, speaking a little bit of English, mostly Spanish, and I was like, I ain't never heard this man voice a day of my life. Does that mean we're replacing or getting rid of Alex Abrahantes? I don't know. Wishful thinking. Long story short, basically saying stop disrespecting the luchadors. I'm tired of hearing you blah 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 whatever talking shit. And then here comes MJF, and then they actually get out the ring and step in front of their faces, and they're not gonna be able to do anything about it because they're a champion. They're a Hurt Business, Hurt Syndicate, excuse me, copyright and shit. And there's nothing they can do. So they end up actually just leaving and let them go on and have their match. They're having their match against LFI. Beast Morto's wearing that ugly mask again. Beast Morto's, what is going on? Didn't I tell you? Didn't I DM you the other day? Anyway, that's not important. I look at LFI, the potential is absolutely there with them. Kevin Knight just coming back from doing a tournament in Japan, and he's already teaming up with Speedball and Commander. And I thought that as a trio, they actually had great chemistry with each other and whatnot. However, I'm just like, can we actually prioritize LFI? Like, I'm seeing something with them that the company can actually move on to do great things with. But they having them lose, and Beast Muertos is the ball guy, the pin guy. Oh my god. All this to lead into next week for MJF, Hurt Syndicate, to be the whole, well, all of them except for MVP, to go against what's his name, Speedball, Commander, and Kevin Knight. And I'm just like, oh, y'all could have been going against LFI. Look, they actually take off the suits and actually get in there to beat them up, but they end up getting beat up by doing damn near nothing. Honestly, that whole thing felt so weak to me. Weak as fuck to me. But they set up the match for next week, and that's what y'all gonna get on a little 4-hour show we got next Wednesday. Now after this, our stepdaddy Christian tells Nick Wayne that, you've been over there in Japan, you had 14 matches, 22 days, something like that. But your ass didn't win, but that's okay, because you were working really hard. And I got you a match tonight in a 4-way. Okay, he's having a match with AR Fox versus Lee Johnson versus Sammy Guevara for what? I don't know. Now after this, oh wait, before that, he was like, he was telling Nick Wayne's mom, let's go find somewhere where we can lay together. And I was like, what? And then he was like, oh no, let's go find somewhere where we can go sit down or some shit like that. I was like, wow, why would you say that in front of her son like that? That is wild, stepdaddy behavior. Anyway, Max Caster 5-minute open challenge that nobody cares about. But for whatever reason, the chant is getting somewhat over. But hey, look, if you tell dumb people to do something, they will do it. Like, they will literally chant and do whatever you say. This is Denver we're talking about. And they're chanting, Max, you're the best wrestler alive, whatever the fuck he says. And then here comes his opponent, Powerhouse Hobbs, who's obviously not doing anything. He's back there in catering. He might as well just come on out there in his street clothes and beat the hell out of Max Caster in literally less than a minute, which is, I guess, okay. Look, honestly, the Max thing, I don't know where it's going. But he's getting more TV time than Anthony Bowens and a whole bunch of y'all that's sitting back there not doing anything at all. Hopefully there is a payoff with this whole thing. Now, dare I say what the main event was for this? So apparently, I didn't notice this until like much later into the show, that the show was divided into, we have Dynamite here, and then Dynamite will go off air, and then people on Max are going to have to click over to a new link, which is for Collision, to watch Collision live, which they ended up doing. And that the main event for the Dynamite show, the first 2 hours, was for the International Championship, the 4-way, with Kenneth Omega going against Mascara Dorada and Claudio Castagnoli. Lord have mercy, Claudio, Jesus Christ. That entrance that Claudio had in the stairwell with the red lights and everything, that was just beautiful. Production value, giving drama, I love it. And then Brody King, Lord have mercy, that's a beautiful man. That is a beautiful man. This match was the main event at damn near the 2-hour mark, which was very interesting to me, because I'm just like, so why did we not do this at the end of the 4 hours? That would get people more hyped to stick through the actual 4-hour show. And I'll get to a little bit in a moment why I think ultimately this was not the main event of the entire 4 hours. This was absolutely amazing. A little bit of a slow start, but amazing chemistry with everybody. Here, Brody King, they went to commercial. He came back bloodied up, all over his face full of blood. And honestly, while we were watching this during the live stream, I was just like, if Claudio won, like, Kenny, we love you, but this, we're just saying, Claudio would be an amazing choice to be holding the international championship. Like, he would literally be going from country to country, making up countries, probably going into space with the international championship and defending it. Like, I really could see him being that guy. But Kenny Omega ends up retaining by ends up hitting a one-winged angel onto Mascara Dorada, which I didn't expect. I thought it would have been Brody King. Well, he was not going to do that on Brody. Never mind. But I did think that Brody would have gotten pinned in this match, but he didn't. And I thought this was really great. So if there's any match to actually sit through out of these 4 hours, this was absolutely it. And then from there, the feed was over for Dynamite, and everybody had to switch over to Collision. And for whatever reason, my Collision stream was not working. Got that working together, and the show continues on to hour 2. Now, Collision starts, and before we can really celebrate Kenny retaining, Okada comes out there, and definitely the ugliest suit that I think I've ever seen on AEW history. And when I say the ugliest, I mean uglier than that brown suit that Bobby wore that one time. I was just like, what the hell? But in a way, it kind of matched with Kenny's pants, but whatever. These two ended up putting hands on each other. And long story short, you know what, actually, let me just hold off on what ended up happening with that. We got a promo from Ricochet, who is just like, look, this is Denver. I'm not going to waste my time putting on my boots to wrestle in front of these people. So he's not wrestling, but he is looking for people to join this little team that he's trying to assemble. Now here we have William Ospreay going against Lio Rush. Action Andretti is ringside doing whatever he can to help Lio Rush take this win, which is not enough. This is Will Ospreay we're talking about. Will Ospreay that wins every motherfucking time, which is absolutely insane. Now, Will Ospreay, the hair wasn't looking, it was looking slightly better than the other times, which is not much of an improvement, but he was tan, like he went tanning somewhere with MJF, and that's not a good thing. Whatever look that he's trying to go for, I don't know, but baby, you need a stylist. You need somebody to help with this appearance thing you got going on, especially when the company pushing you the way that they pushing you. I was happy to actually see Lio Rush get TV time. He's underrated, in my opinion. I think he's an amazing wrestler. Action Andretti, I think he's great too. And I think that if they were to be prioritizing a hell of a lot more this tag division like they should be, instead of crew having to go to Japan to do some work, then people would be more on their sides in terms of what they can do as individuals and as a team. So another missed opportunity when it comes for these young talent. However, Will Ospreay ends up taking the win. Now they are upset about this and they're beating him up. And here comes Hangman being Captain Saberho to help Will Ospreay. Now Will Ospreay seemingly to hurt his shoulder or whatever the hell happened with him, but he ends up making it to the back. Now Hangman is in the ring with a mic, and he has something to say as well. He says, look, I don't mind that Hangman wants to help me out. Since he is showing that he wants to help me out, I'm here to help him out too. But don't get it twisted. I actually don't need any help. Like, I can do what I got to do with Jon Moxley at All In and end up winning that title. Now, while he's doing that, here comes Moxley coming over there, Marina, Wheeler Yuta, Claudio's a ride or die. That's what I be saying about Claudio. Like, who wouldn't want a Claudio Castagnoli in their life? Like, no matter what happened, Claudio was literally just in that 4-way, and he suited up to come right back on out there to take care of Hangman. Like, who wouldn't love a man like that? Now, they're all circling around the ring, and here comes William running out there with 2 chairs, barely able to make it out there. And then that's when Moxley was like, you know what? I think I left the oven on at home. Let's all just go back at home and not worry about this. And so they end up leaving. And honestly, it just seems like the same thing over and over again with the whole Death Rider situation. But I'm hoping that things cook up, because we are, 38 days away from All In. We got to do a hell of a lot more work. Now we do have Uncle Don backstage with Kaya Fletcher and Takeshita, they look amazing back there. Like whatever Uncle Don is doing back there is working. They end up saying that there's a couple of losers around here, the Outrunners and Bandito. We gonna have a match with Sean. We got a third person that can help take care of the trash, and it's Hechiseto. Hechiseto's so dreamy. I love him. So they're gonna be teaming up with them in trios action. Now, FTR going against Templario and Atlantis Jr. Stokely being ringside and useless. The match was. I thought it was good, but I thought the wrong team won. I don't know where they're going with FTR. I'm not necessarily sure, but I would think that it would have been okay for Templario and Atlantis Jr. to take the win, especially since we're a couple of weeks from Mexico. But this is still a good way to be able to get people within AEW to see the wrestlers from CMLL and kind of feel a little bit more hyped about Grand Slam Mexico. Cash and Dax ends up taking the win, and unfortunately they have time for a promo. So after Stokely says whatever he was saying, Dax is just getting the mic and everybody's booing like crazy because they don't want to hear him. And he goes, well, since you guys won't be quiet, then I'm not going to speak. And then they left. And I was like, you gave us exactly what we wanted. Lovely. Now after this, we get a cute little video package for Tekla, a little vignette, where she's like in Japan and then she's supposed to be coming over to America, but then we don't even get her coming out next. It's Bandito Outrunners going against the Don Callis family and Hechiseto. I thought this was great. I don't know why the Outrunners had to wear masks, but okay. I don't know what we're doing with Bandito. I don't know what we're doing to Bandito. I'm not going to rant about it. The Outrunners has so much aura a few months ago before the Hurt Syndicate got their hands on them. And once again, it's just like they've taken this step back or two where I just don't understand what happened. They're still great in the ring, still entertaining, but the aura definitely not there. However, Don Callis' family ends up taking the win. That's exactly what was supposed to happen. Kyle Fletcher, that man is looking, he's putting in the work at the gym for sure, and he's still wearing the pink, which I think is his thing now. Uncle Don has assembled this mass weapon of destruction with this group, and honestly, I'm very excited to see where things go from here. Now, to show a recap of the street fight with Megan Bayne and Penelope, they went against Harley Cameron and Anna Jay. And then after that, we see backstage Penelope and Megan with Anna Jay. And I was like, oh, what the hell? They about to beat her ass up. Now, they were taking her to the stage from backstage. And they were going to, I think, maybe powerbomb her or something from off the stage onto on the ground. And then here comes Tay Mello. I'm not gonna lie, she's back. She's back. I can't say I was excited about it, but that she's here. And from what I've been hearing, rumors that Harley was really hurt recently, and she's going to be taking time off, which might be the case. But now we have Tay Mello, who's going to be back with Anna Jay. I can't say that I'm necessarily excited about this. Now, we do have Ricochet, who makes his way to do commentary during the Ring of Honor TV championship match, which I was just like, wait, you're not going for the Ring of Honor TV championship, right? He's there to scout people for this little group that he got going on. So we have AR Fox going against Lee Johnson, going against Nick Wayne, and going against Sammy Guevara. Sammy Guevara, we really didn't need you on this. They could have given the spot to someone else because you not even doing anything with the Ring of Honor Tag Championships. AR Fox, when I tell you the people over there in Denver was making so much noise, I almost had to look up. It's AR Fox from Denver because he was getting that hometown cheer from the crowd where they really, really was enjoying him. Unfortunately, regardless of that, we knew that Nick Wayne was going to end up retaining. We did have Blake Christian, who was there with Lee Johnson, who is his friend, tag partner, whatever they're doing. And he's trying to help cheat. Not enough, obviously. And Nick Wayne ends up taking the win. And I'm okay with it. He ended up actually ending the match with him and AR Fox. Remember, when AR Fox and Swerve had pulled up on him at his house and whooped his ass, and whoever else that was over there at Nick Wayne's house, and it was just like, oh, I remember when you did that. I'm gonna whoop your ass, and that's what happened. And then Nick Wayne ends up taking the win, not even with a typical finisher. I believe his finisher is a Wayne's World, which is basically a cutter, and I thought it was very interesting. However, after this, our stepdaddy, he comes on out there, Mama Wayne come on out there, and he picks up the title, and he holds it, and he's all celebrating, but then he gives it to Nick Wayne and walks away. And I was like, oh, okay, no drama, no nothing? Okay, cool, I don't know. Now we finally have Tekla that debuts, have her debut match. That outfit was just absolutely insane. The makeup was right, the hair was right, everything was right. And I was just like, the whole time during the stream, we were just like, please don't let it be Queen Aminata. Please don't let it be Queen Aminata. But then it's Lady Frost. Lady Frost, I really like her. I think a lot of us like her. But I cannot tell you when I've ever seen her win a match in AEW. I'm pretty sure it's happened. I have to go like deep in the back of my brain to remember when that actually happened. It didn't really take long for Tekla to win. It was somewhat of a squash. And after the match, she even ends up putting Lady Frost in the armbar and some other shit. And then Queen Aminata came on out to help Lady Frost. And I was like, didn't we just say we didn't want to see Queen Aminata anywhere near Tekla? Because obviously Queen Aminata, she deserves so much more. I've seen people just like, what are we doing with Queen Aminata over there in AEW? And honestly, we're right. We are right. Not enough what we're doing. However, a little bit later on, we do have a challenge where Queen Aminata basically saying, hey, in Africa, we squash spiders when we see them, and I got no problem doing the same to you. So at some point, we're going to have these two go at it. Now, a little bit earlier, they were saying that Tony Khan have a special announcement. Tony Schiavone's going to end up announcing all that stuff, and I was just like, all right. I don't know what it is, but please don't sign anybody because we're full up in here. And here comes the announcement that Okada will be going against Kenneth Omega, title for title, winner, win all at All In. And then next week, during that little 4-hour show that they're going to be doing, they're going to have like a contract signing for that match. Now look, we've been saying it for months that we wanted Kenny to be going against Okada. So I don't think anybody actually felt excitement about this. You already just confirmed what we knew what was going to happen. And to end the show, we have Don Callis' family. Like, when I tell you, like, Uncle Don can't even sit down because he is so busy with the boys, and we do appreciate that. So Josh Alexander, Rocky Romero, Trent Beretta and those abs, oh my God, it's very exciting, very exciting. And Lance Archer, he's over there too. And they're going against Paragon and Danny Garcia. To close the show, let's be real. The whole announcement thing that they end up announcing about Kenny and Okada, if they had saved this for the main event, maybe there would not have been that time for them to throw out the announcement. That announcement was pretty much like, hey, there's 2 more hours of the show. I got something really important to announce, so make sure you stick around to hear that. Then you hear that, which we already knew was going to happen, just so we could stick around to see Paragon and Danny Garcia at the end. It did not give me main event feel, to be completely honest with you. But that's what we got. And I thought it was pretty decent. I could not get into it as much as I wanted to. I think everybody was tired at this point in terms of people who are watching. And a lot of people didn't really feel the need to stick around for this. Unfortunately, Paragon ends up taking the win. Something about this group, I don't know where we're going. But I do know that a TV title should be on the line. There should literally be a division surrounding these titles, not just the TV title, but all the titles. I don't want to hear excuses about why we can't have matches and shit like that, why we gotta be teaming up with other people rather than just literally putting on the line the titles that we got. Something about that shit is kind of really annoying for me. Overall, the 4 hours, I feel like the first 2, no, let me backtrack. The first 3, I enjoyed. That last hour really felt a little rough because it gave it like I was gonna say somewhat of pay-per-view wise, but without the quality of pay-per-view. It just felt like that last hour kind of dragged, and they try to keep that, oh, we have an announcement to kind of keep you going. They try to keep, well, Tekla's coming, and kind of keep you to go like at least towards the main event if you're going to stick around for the whole 4 hours. But Tony Khan, as usual, you got me and a couple of others to stay throughout the entire show. I am kind of dreading next week with 4 hours, but I still will be watching, and yes, we'll also be doing a review on that. So you guys, thanks so much for watching my review. I'll be back with a review tomorrow on Ring of Honor. See you guys then. Bye.